and we'll get started. All right, so it's number 5, the 5th webinar in this epic launch that we've been doing with Peak Funding. It has been an exciting time. We've got some great announcements. We finally did get the capture pages installed. I haven't seen them in the back office yet, but I'm going to ask Bill to show everyone. And over and above that, we're going to talk about the provisioning process, how we get the corporations online, what the process is, and we'll answer your questions. So without further ado, I want to introduce my business partner, Mr. Bill Ebert, and also Mr. George Wilson. Come on out and say hello, guys.
Hey, everybody. We got our new capture pages up and running in the back office. You want me to show those to these guys?
I would love you to show those pages, my friend.
All right, let me show you how this works. So we will probably have it in more than one location, but right now we have it under what we call the profile tab. So let's just you hit the little man icon or your last name, you'll see a little profile, and this profile and the sign out over here in the upper left-hand corner. When you click on profile, you're actually going to get, well, it was working a minute ago. There you go. Under profile, you'll see you have a chance to change your username, your password, and underneath there is the promotional links. So we have 3 different ones. If you want to promote the credit repair product, you click on credit repair and it launches this, it's supposed to launch this beautiful page right here.
Woo-hoo! Looks awesome!
That's what happens when you just get it done and then show everybody live.
No sweat, Bill. We know you guys are working hard.
All right, so the URL's busted, but it'll be done 5 minutes after we hang up. So right here are your promotional links. Look at them, watch the videos. They're short, simple, beautiful, very nice looking pages. Do
you want to open those links, whether or not they're working in the back office or not? Do you have them easy just to show here on the webinar?
Yeah, let me do this. So there's the Make Huge Money with Personal Funding. Beautiful page. Great little.
This is the Corporate Share Program with the new slides.
Yeah,
very cool.
And then we have this one. Double any amount in 120 days guaranteed.
Right. Look at that. Forgive me. This is the Corporate Share Program.
Right.
Yeah. And then there was one more.
And then this is credit restoration.
Right. So now you have 3 paths. You can take them down the personal funding path, the credit restoration path, or the corporate share program. In the beginning, the only webinar that we led with and the only capture page that we had was the corporate share program. And, you know, that's still where most of the sizzle is. But depending on what country you're in, you know, a lot of people are looking for credit repair. And look, there's money to be made. Everyone in America wants to improve their credit score with no money out of pocket. So, you know, now we have 3 paths for the user to take. And, you know, the old capture page was just a simple dark themed, you know, vanilla page with a video on it. Now we've got some real lifestyle, some real, you know, light, compelling looking media to go along with it, to go along with the reface that we put on the corporate side as well. So I'm excited. So Bill, let me know when those links are working. And of course I'll let the group know. How are you, Sir George?
I'm good, Tom. How are you?
Oh, too grateful to be hateful, my friend. Thank you for asking. Exciting times. So one of the things that I want to cover, because I get asked the question a lot, and many people in the program still don't understand the process of once they send in a check or once they send in a wire, how does it get applied? What's the process for getting it applied? How long does it, you know, sometimes take? You know, things slowed down just a little bit since we, ladies and gentlemen, since we upgraded to the $500 minimum. You know, we were getting a lot more wires and deposits when people could send in $200. So they slowed down a little bit, but they certainly haven't stopped at all. And the good news is that, you know, some of the folks that wanted to pay with Bitcoin has been on a climb. There was one guy that was in a third world country, and he was struggling to put 200 bucks together. He had some Bitcoin, but it was just about all he had was a couple $100. He was really bummed out, when we raised the rate. And of course, Bitcoin's been on an epic run. So now all of a sudden his Bitcoin is worth $500 and he can actually get in the program. So that's kind of cool. But I want you guys to kind of share the process, especially you George, because you're essentially the guy that's assigning people to the corporations. Can you kind of give a download on the people on how it all works? Or Bill. George, your mic is muted in case, well, maybe it's not. Or did I freeze? Can you all hear me? Am I frozen?
No, I can hear you okay.
We can all hear you.
Good, good, good.
So I don't know if George locked up or what. So the way the process works, a person puts in their e-check or their Bitcoin payment. Once we confirm the payment, usually takes 3 days, somewhere around 3 days to confirm it, deposit it, and have the check clear. Once that happens, then we send it over to admin. Admin assigns it to a corporation. Right now, it's taking anywhere from 7 to 10 days for a corporation to close. You'll see who is and who isn't assigned to each corporation. Every corporation that closes by Tuesday, we will send out commission payments by that following Friday. So I hope that wasn't too much information, but just for general idea, if someone gets in today, you're looking at having the money cleared before the weekend, and then you'll get paid by next Friday. So it's happening pretty quick. Of course, if somebody steps up for a full meal deal, then you'll get your $6,000 in commission pretty quick.
Yeah, and by full meal deal, obviously, Bill means that if somebody purchases a whole corporation, the processing time is obviously a lot shorter because we're not waiting for slots to fill up. Yeah, I think we did lose George. That's too bad. Oh, no, he's back.
He was asking if we could hear him, but I let him know that we couldn't hear him for some reason.
Ah, cool. Well, we can see you. I don't know if your mic's working. It worked a second ago. Sir George.
Yeah, I see him trying to mute and unmute his microphone. I think he's having technical difficulties. It seems like a technical difficulty day.
Yeah, interesting. Okay, well, why don't we go ahead, George, come on, whenever you come online, just come on back and shout at us. Does anyone have any questions? Go ahead and drop them in the chat. There's a ton of people on here. I can't believe there wouldn't be any questions.
Where's the chat?
I had a couple people ask the same question, but you guys have already answered this in a webinar before. Is it okay if we just ask it again? Because I notice a lot of people are asking this question.
Absolutely.
Is it okay to ask it again? Yeah?
Absolutely.
Okay. Okay, so in one of the presentation videos, this is pretty self-explanatory, but you mentioned $100. It was changed to $200. Now it's $500. So that answers that question of why in one of the presentation videos it says $100. But the question I keep on getting is, okay, so for example, in one of those videos, when you said $100, you're using an example within the first year that would be the equivalent to earnings around $2,500, and then second year, the earnings equivalent around to $34,000. How they're all asking, so how would this work out with $500 now? Because turning $100 into $34,000 within 2 years, that's insane. So how would this work out with $500 now? They're asking, and these numbers, I think they're off. Like they don't really go with the video that you put out. So I think some people are confused about that with the building corporations off corporations kind of thing. So if you want to talk a little bit about building corporations off corporations, because I've had a couple people ask me that.
Well, I can address it in a brief manner. It's pretty complicated mathematics. just because you're compounding on top of, and also everyone knows that we're basing it on a certain level of speculation. So depending on how much each corporation gets, and some of the corporations can get $150,000, $200,000, and some of them are going to end up getting $300,000 or $500,000, and a lot of it, I wish it was more of a science, but it's more of an art. It just depends on what the banks are feeling. They don't like something. I don't like the last name of the director of this new corporation because he beat me up when I was in high school. Just the weirdest stuff in the banking world. So, you get anything from $100,000 build out, and then you get some crazy stuff happening. So we basically, as we were saying, general numbers, we talked a little bit about speculation in the video. The way that it works out, if you take your initial investment, let's say $40,000, we double it into $80,000. We then take half of that money, which is again the $40,000, and start doubling that every 120 days. In other words, we have two different ways we can start doubling the money. We know, because everybody understands the math of getting another corporation for $20,000 and doubling that. But we also have the pay it forward program where we're paying for other people's credit repair. Whichever method we work, if you take $40,000 as a round number, take $40,000 and turn it into 80, and the 80 turns into 160,000, and 160,000 turns into 320,000. You can see that it doesn't take that long. A year you have 3 or 4 doubles. And so we're working on a speculative number of $150,000 and start doubling that 4 times over a year period. And that's where we're coming up with those numbers in the different videos. Now, depending on whether it was the first stage video where we were speculating a little higher, we actually were speculating on a number of 350 to 500,000. In these last series of videos, we knocked those numbers down quite a bit because we'd much rather under promise and over deliver. And so that's why the numbers seem a little different than the first version. But in either way, if you just start taking the math of, now let's take the number up to $100,000. We have a $100,000 corporation. We got $50,000 to invest. At 50 turns into 100. The 100 turns into 200. The 200 turns into 400. The corporation's made some pretty good money when it doubles 4 times.
Also, I want to add that just like Bill said, that the first video was super speculative. And originally the content of that video was not my content. I modified the content a little bit, and once we started getting momentum with this, and I went back and remassaged all of the slides, I got with Bill, and I said, I just want to give something super realistic and easy to obtain, and then just like Bill said, if we do better, then that's just more gravy. But over and above that, the other thing that's changed, improved for the better for everybody, is that the fact that we're giving. It used to be that 40% of the corporation went to the crowdfunding folks, the people that were purchasing stakes, and now we're giving away more. And so you guys actually get more of the corporation. If you buy a whole corp or if you just buy a fractional piece of a corp, you're getting more of a corporation than in the original presentation. So in the end, everything's improved. In the end, we're still speculating, but we're quite realistically speculating, which it's still speculation, but it's grounded in what's realistically attainable. And like I said, also when banks are looking at credit files, your location has a lot to do with how much they'll lend. People that live on the coasts will get more money than people that live in the center of the United States. I don't know why that is. It's based on an algorithm that the banks use, but they base that on the economy, what the cost of living is per city, what the annual income is per city as well. That changes city to city. Like if you live in San Francisco, you're going to be making more money than if you live in the Midwest. And even though we're talking about corporate funding, the banks, that algorithm still comes into play. So this is why some people, on the personal funding side, this is why some people will qualify for $100,000 in the Midwest and qualify for, $200,000 if they live in Southern California. So that's part of it. And like I said, all we can do is speculate because there's no way that we can know on any given day which banks are going to step up and start offering these loans. Are they working, Sir Bill?
They are. So if you'll click on these links and send these URLs out, as you can see, it ties directly to your user ID. So Mohammed's user ID is 26974. If we click on the credit repair tab, you can see the ID is located in the URL that he's going to share out. And then when they hit get started, it'll link directly to him. So all three of those links are fixed. It was missing a / in the URL, but they're all working.
Awesome.
Got a question.
Sure. Come on out.
All right. This is Steve, by the way. Actually, 2 questions, if it's okay.
Yep.
First, I'm curious about the mechanics of credit repair and how it actually works, what happens behind the scenes. And the second part of the question would be, who actually does the underwriting? And hopefully it's no one I had a problem with in high school.
Yeah, that's actually, those are some good questions. Now, the mechanics of credit repair, if we're talking about artwork, man, the stuff that I've learned in the last 2 years of credit repair is there is no 2 files that are the same. It's just the craziest place. And it's kind of like a boxing match. You get in there with your opponent. You can't box everybody like you boxed the last guy. Every single situation is different. So the mechanics are based on is the person strong in does he have a good work history, but he doesn't have trade lines. Does he have collections? Does he have really bad stuff on his credit? So the strategies are completely unique. I have a friend that we've been working on. We normally get somebody through first round in 30 days, 30 to 45 days. We get them through first round of credit repair and get them to a pretty good status. I've got a friend that we're working on 4 months now. That he was one of the first people into our credit repair program, and I'm talking to him again tomorrow. He is one of the most difficult files we've ever had, and it was just very, very unique. I mean, he had 27 credit cards that were completely maxed out. He lives off of his credit cards as an entrepreneur, so his situation was completely different than almost anybody. I mean, I don't know of too many people that have 27 maxed out credit cards. So he's like $420,000 in credit card debt, and it was a unique strategy. But we're now down at the end of his 4 months. He's probably going to be one of our very few clients that are going to actually take more than 4 months. He might actually be a 4 or 5 or maybe even 6 month process, because after we get him all done, he doesn't have anything good left on his credit. So now we got to build it back up. So it's just. Once you start going through the process, if you or somebody goes through it, that's probably the best way to learn it, is to look at the situation based on your unique situation, and we'll get you through. Now, here's the other thing. If you put some of your people through credit repair, whether we pay for it or you pay for it, we don't put you in, and we don't start the process unless we're sure we can get you funding on the backside. Because our investors, we want to make sure we protect our investors' money, and we want to make sure we protect your money. We don't want you to get you in here 90 days later. We say, oh, oops. You can't get any funding. You're out your money. So just go through the assessment process. We'll tell you what steps and how much we think we can get you. That's probably the best way to do it, is to have you or whoever you're doing go through the file and go through the process.
All right. Appreciate it. One more question, if you don't mind. Just curious, at this point, are you finding credit repair customers are outpacing the formations of the corporations and the pay it forward money, or is it the other way around, or is it kind of equally balanced?
No, it's never balanced. I wish it was always balanced. But we used to, a month ago, we had way more credit repair people than we had money, and today we have way more money than we have credit repair people. So we could probably take 100 brand new credit repair people, pay for them, and still have money left over. So right now we're cash rich and people poor. We're putting out a new campaign to get more credit repair people in. It's probably the easiest and best problem a company has is, please let me repair your credit for free. It's the easiest thing we'll ever sell. So it's not a big problem. I'd rather have this problem than the reverse. Having more credit repair people than I have money.
That's a golden opportunity for anyone on this call, anyone in the program at this point, especially if you've just been focused on the corporate credit, on the Corporate Share Program. Look, you probably, it doesn't matter if you live in America personally, you probably know somebody that could use the service, and you make money when folks go through credit repair. So by all means, rattle the cage. look, there are a lot of credit repair companies out there, and most of them, very little of them can actually perform on the level that they say they can perform. Now, just like Bill said, every single credit file is different, and there are some difficult cases. But the underwriters that we're working with have an incredible track record, and to be able to get the average file into the fundable zone of a 720 FICO score at 45 days, that's a really tall order to fill, and they've been doing it. So you guys have lightning in a bottle here for those of you that want to take action and start mixing it up with your face. Even if you live in a foreign country, mix it up with your Facebook buddies that live in the United States.
All right, thanks, guys. Appreciate that.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
I'm back. Sorry about that, guys.
Welcome back.
Yikes.
Peter had a question. He said, one of my assigned corps is still pending, so I cannot sign the application. I think what he's talking about. How long will it take to completely set up this corp? It's been like this for 2 weeks.
So once we close off a corporation, we actually have to start building it out. Because the agreement is with the company that you've been assigned with, we have to wait until we actually have that company incorporated. So because we've had such a growth, we've had a little bit of a backlog on getting the corporations. So we're in the process right now of actually purchasing 5 companies that should be available for them and assigned to you probably within the next few days. So normally it won't take that long, but like I said, there's been a lot of demand for the corporate product. And so at this point in time, we're just getting those companies together, and you should see something in the next couple of days.
Gordon has a question. He said, I noticed in the corporate build out in my operating agreement that it shows my percentage of the corporation is 40%. Should this now be 60? I think I know the answer, but I'm going to leave that to either Bill or George.
Essentially, let me just pull out, I had something I pulled up here. So essentially what's happening is that each company has 500 shares or 500 members. What we do is, in order to raise the 20,000 to do the build out, we make 40% of that available. So if you buy the whole corporation, you actually get the 40%. The 60% goes to the management team in order to actually run the day-to-day operations.
Bill, I think we've actually modified that plan. Bill, do you want to speak to that? Because we had a long conversation about this before I did the webinar.
Yeah, we were thinking about modifying going 60-40 in the reverse, and we'll talk about that after we get off the call and just make sure that all the new ones are right.
Okay, because that's new to me, so.
Yeah. So to be clear, let me clarify it better. There's now 40 stakes in a corporation. There's 4,500 USD stakes. And what was discussed, long before I started this video and launched it, was that, we wanted to give the members, more control or the controlling percentage. So we flipped that scenario, and it's 60-40. And because we're a white label partner, we have the flexibility to do that. So that also means that those contracts have to change. But my understanding was that any corps that were signed before we cut over would be on the old agreement, because that was the agreement that they had already signed. And then any corporations moving forward would have the new percentage in the agreement. So Bill, how's that working? Did we get those agreements updated?
I will look as soon as we get off the call.
Awesome. So to answer the question, Gord, it depends on when you sign the agreement. We basically cut over to this new deal about the first of the month that we're in. And so if you signed an agreement before then, that wouldn't change because the agreement was already signed. But any new agreements will be updated if they're not updated already.
So then ignore what I just said. We need to discuss after the call.
Absolutely. Is there any other questions?
Yeah, I'll bounce in here with another question if that's all right. It's just more of kind of a statement or observation, I guess. People are in need of credit repair because obviously they've gotten behind on some bills, thereby negatively impacting their credit score. And there's funds available, or that will become available up to $150,000 once their credit score gets to 720. But I'm curious, and I'm thinking, why couldn't some of those funds be made available to actually pay off some of that debt and start raising their credit score that way? Or am I kind of like way off track on how these things actually work?
Yeah, the math doesn't work. It's actually easier to eliminate the debt than to pay it down.
Gotcha. Okay.
Any other
but
questions?
when you say eliminate the debt, why not use some of the funding that would become available?
Yeah, in most cases, it would cost more that way.
Okay.
Yeah, we have to get. It's on my short list is to get a pretty sheet in your back office, in the back office of Peak, with the breakdown of what we're paying out for credit repair, what we pay out when someone goes into personal funding, and so on and so forth. Right now, I do have it's in the group. It's in the Facebook group. I think it's under announcements. But I need to get a pretty sheet in the back office. So forgive me for not, it was on my list last week, but, just didn't get done. So I apologize. But that will be coming to your back office. So you'll know exactly what you're making when somebody goes into credit repair. You'll know exactly what you make when somebody goes into personal funding, and so on and so forth. Bill, you want to show that graphic? They said, can you say the rates? Do you want to pull that graphic up again, or pull up that Word doc again and just kind of blast through that?
I could try to find it. Hold on.
I said, well, Bill's looking for that. Is there any other questions?
Actually, I have a question. It's about like PPC ads and stuff like that. Are we allowed to run PPC ads on Google? Because I'm thinking credit repair would be something really easy to sell through like a PPC ad, like a Google ad.
Absolutely. Why not?
Yeah. Okay. Just thought I'd ask.
Has anyone on the call run Facebook ads?
Yeah, I run them all the time.
I guess you do well enough to justify running them all the time.
Oh, I've never run an ad for Peak Funding, but I run Facebook ads for like affiliate stuff. I think it might be a little difficult to run a Facebook ad for that.
Peak?
No, I don't think so.
Take it away, Bill.
So this, do we have this listed anywhere in the back office for people? I guess you can make it available with a link at the bottom of the video later. But this is just a live Google Doc that we have out there that shows you all the tier 1 and the tier 2 commissions. So you can see there's $1,500 tier 1, tier 2 for funding for every $150,000. And then there's $200 on tier 1 and $100 on tier 2 for all credit repair people that go through. And then there's performance bonuses for some of you guys who are leaders who are going to be doing more than 5 deals. You can see there's additional bonuses on top of that. So I don't normally spend any time going through that. That's just for the few. And for those of you who think you're going to be that, you should probably get a copy of this so you can see what kind of earnings you can make. And so this is really the whole thing right here. The broker commissions right here for tier 1 and tier 2 commissions.
So talk about, Bill, because a lot of people don't understand, you can get paid multiple ways from one client going through the credit repair process. And Bill, can you just talk a little bit about that?
Well, that's the beautiful thing about the program is, if you're thinking long-term and you get somebody in who's maybe a 600, 620 credit score, you get them through credit repair. You're going to make money on the credit repair. Once they go through funding, you're going to make another $1,000 on the funding. And then if they buy a corporation, you're going to make 30% on the corporation. If they go through a second round of funding, let's say they do really well with their first round and they get $80,000, They buy two corporations. You, who sponsored them in, is making $6,000 a piece. You made $12,000 for them buying in two corps. You made $200 for their credit repair. You made money on their funding, and then they go through a second round of funding, and you get it again in 30, 45 days. They could potentially do it all over again. So the credit repair person is gold. It's future gold. It's 30, 60 days out. But the credit repair person is golden. So if you can find a funnel to help us build out this credit repair cloud, get these people in, we're going to take care of them like they're gold. We want to make sure that they go through because they're money for all of us.
Yeah. I just want to clarify, it's 20% frontline commissions on the corporate share program. Yeah. It's 30% altogether. See, here's the challenge Bill and George have is they're dealing with 7 white labels. So the numbers are all kind of floating up in the cloud in their mind. But, we're the only white label that I'm aware of that has a 2-tier commission plan now. And so we allocated things just a little differently on the corporate share side. Now I'm just talking about on the corporate share. There's a 2-tier commission plan. And so, but, again, somebody goes into credit repair, you make money, a nice little commission on the credit repair. Then they decide that, why are they going into credit repair? Because they want to go into personal funding. So then they go into personal funding. You make money when the personal funding happens. They take some of the personal funding, they buy corporations. You make money when they buy the corporations. And so you can see how one person, can become just ongoing residual income for you. And the nice part about that is that person never had to step up and spend anything but maybe a couple $100 out of pocket. Now, for the longest time on the credit repair side, we were saying nothing out of pocket. And what we found from experience was if the person didn't spend a dime, right? We spent $2,500 to get their credit repair. They spent nothing. Well, they're all too happy to raise their hand and say, yeah, please pay for my credit repair. But they're not committed to going through the funding process because they had no skin in the game. And so what happened was people would just kind of, take the freebie, the nice gift that we gave them that we actually paid hard money for, and they'd be down the road. So now what we say is that, you've got to have some skin in the game with a minimum of a $200 check to secure your credit repair. Now, if we can really take a person from a low credit score to a 720 or better in 45 days, it's worth that every day of the week, right? Because so many credit repair companies are charging more and performing quite a bit less. So it's an absolute no-brainer, but we can't, effectively say that it's no money out of pocket anymore because we are asking them to step up with $200. Now they can actually purchase the whole $2,500 up front if they want. And why would they want to do that, Bill? Explain to them why they would want to do that.
Well, it costs them less in the long run because they don't have to take any money. They don't have to take $5,000 out of the back end. So when they go through funding, they get to keep all that funding and do whatever they want with it.
Right. So I'll clarify. So if you raise your hand and you say, I want you guys to pay for my credit repair, we're glad to do that. You give us $200. We take you through the credit. We spend the $2,500 to take you through the credit repair process. Once you complete that, you go into funding, and then you pay us back double the $2,500 that we spent to pull you through, right? So you pay $5,000. But if you pay the $2,500 up front, when you go into funding, you're not obligated to pay double. So just like Bill said, you save in the long run if you pay the money up front. Now, there are some exceptions. There are some people whose credit files are going to require a little more massaging. And, of course, we give an estimate once the person, the underwriter takes a look and gets an assessment, then we're going to know what we have to do to move that person into funding. And in some isolated cases, they might have to pay more. That's accurate, right, Bill?
Right. If we have to massage the file or they need trade lines, it's a little more expensive, but we'll let them know during the assessment stage if that's the case before we ever start anything at all.
Right. Okay, let me get back to the questions. I changed my view. All right. Do we have commissions compensation listed somewhere? Yes. Okay, we just covered that. When a corp buys a corp, how does that work with commissions?
There is no commissions. There's no commissions when a corp buys a corp.
But there is profits for all the shareholders of the main corp.
Yeah, So whoever owns the original corporation whatever revenue is generated within that corporation, whether we're stacking corporations or putting it in to pay it forward or whatever we're investing in, the shareholders will make money from that. That's the idea behind it. So, but as far as them buying more corps, there's no commissions.
Any other questions?
I've got another one. This is for Drew, if he's still on. Would it be fair to say that Drew is a go-to resource for any kind of whatever you're doing on social media, Facebook, LinkedIn, or otherwise?
Only if you're on his team.
I'm actually just a member.
Okay.
Yeah, but you can, like, if we're friends on Facebook, I think I just sent you a friend request, actually.
Did you? I
think so.
Paid to promote. Did I think you're?
Yeah, that's for my team. That's fine though. Who did you join in peak funding? I think you joined Peter, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, he already asked me about that. If you could go to that website. Yeah. If you ever have questions or something, we have a chat group there.
Yes.
Get Peter. Are you in the chat group?
I believe I'm in it now as of this afternoon. I finally got in it. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, you can just ask questions in there, and then one of us will respond back to it, kind of thing. Normally, I respond back to it. Yeah, but I'm gonna be doing some, like, definitely I'm gonna promote the repair your credit thing through Google Ads, and I'll probably show you guys how to do that because it's actually really, really simple. And,
okay.
It costs a bit of money, but it's gonna be.
Well, that's why I was thinking Facebook, because Facebook is still very undervalued as far as advertising costs go. Certainly, far less than Google AdWords.
Yeah, it's actually, the targeting's like way better in Facebook too. So we could go either way with it. We could actually do we could do Google and Facebook, and target U.S. people. And as Tom said, like, U.S. people around the outside of the U.S.
Right. Well, that's where I am anyway. I'm in New Jersey.
Oh, okay. All right. Yeah.
All right. And last question: why are you always in your car?
Because I live in Canada, and I live in the country. I'm in a really small town. It's Barrie, Ontario, where I am, and my internet is horrible. So I actually just drive. They're actually building a new internet tower. So they say by the end of the summer I'll have good internet. So I just drive to the local coffee shop here, and I sit in the parking lot and do these things.
Gotcha. I'm teasing you.
Yeah. No, I bet everybody's wondering that though. Like, what's going on with this guy?
So, Steve, I just want to let you know I'm in Caledon.
I'm sorry,
it's
where?
George.
And where?
I'm in Caledon.
Where's that?
You're in
Caledon.
Like, you're in Caledon, Ontario?
Yes.
Oh, so you're by Barrie.
Yeah, I'm close to you.
Not Barrie, Brampton.
Brampton, yeah. I'm right on the border.
Oh, right by. Okay,
Brampton,
I used to live in Brampton like 3 years ago. Yeah.
Yeah, I grew up in Brampton.
Oh, really? That's hilarious. Small world, eh?
Yeah.
Hey.
Funny.
Hey. That's funny.
Yeah, hey. We're both saying A.
Oh, and he's drinking at Timmy's too. Nice.
That's where I am. I'm parked at Timmy's right now.
Are you?
Yeah.
Well, we're interrupting the basketball game. You know that, right?
I know. That's okay.
The Raptors game.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is dedication, Rick. Yeah, Rick said that's dedication, Drew, about you driving out to the coffee shop to attend these webinars. I appreciate the hustle. Well, ladies and gentlemen, if there's no further questions, don't forget now, go to your back office, click on your personal profile, look at the pages, post the pages, start using the pages. The pages will give such an awesome first impression. We got the lifestyle theme on the pages now. The video is super compelling, and when we originally launched this, it was just that dark themed page, just a simple page with a video in the middle. But now we've got some testimonials, we've got nice light colors, we've got beautiful lifestyle pics. We have 3 beautiful pages for you to use. You've got 3 paths now and everything should be working seamlessly. If you have any technical issues with these new pages, please don't IM me. Expect personal one-on-one attention at any time of day. I try to do it. I love each and every one of you, but I'm just inundated. So start a service ticket. I promise if your ticket doesn't get handled in 24 hours, I will eat my socks. Actually, we're rolling out most of the tickets the same day they come in because we don't get that many of them. But please start a service ticket first, and teach your teammates as well to start using the ticket system. That's why we have it. But if you just have something that's overwhelming you, or you're connected to me on Facebook, you can still rattle my cage. I just some people, every single little thing they want to come to me, and I'm glad to do that for 1 or 2 or 5 or 10 people. But when it starts to become 30 or 40 people, it's a little overwhelming. So use the ticket system. That's all the questions I have. I want to thank everybody. This is the first time we've had George on the webinar. So thanks, George, for making the webinar. You guys now have another name and another face. I can't say face because he didn't have a profile picture up, but yeah.
My mic working, so.
Hey, at least his mic is working. You have a voice to put with the name, at least.
Yeah.
And thanks to you, George. Thanks to you, Bill. Thanks to you, Drew and Peter and everyone else. Another one's in the bag. We'll see you on the boards. Have a great evening. God bless.
Good night, everybody.